Hey everyone, it's Chris from Smithy Finance, and this is your 2 p.m. market update for April 28th. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Have you missed me? You could tell me in the comments if you feel like it. So it's been a hell of a market, right? We've had all sorts of opportunities. You know, we were talking about buying the crash, selling the rip, selling the rebound, and then rebuying and selling and so forth. And we've had some really nice moves. I've done quite a lot of selling and am now, in a very strong cash position. We've had, let's go through a few of the stocks that I've talked about in the past. MicroStrategy has had almost a 50% move off the bottom to its peak earlier today. Right now it's at 360. We saw it well below 250. Same with Bitcoin. We saw that at 77,000 at the very low. Now it's at 94. Sterling, STRL, that's had a 50% move. I've sold it all, so I had offers all the way up. I'm a buyer should it pull back, and we'll talk about strategy at this point in just a moment. But they've all had really nice runs. We saw Ivanhoe go from below 10 to 1370 this morning. I sold a little bit at 1350. Aya had a big move, but it's been pulling back. So that's one of the few that are a buy right at this moment. The oils have been showing a little bit of strength. I talked about Saturn, SOIL, trading on Toronto. That's been slowly moving up, and that is still a buy. I'd like to see it come down a little bit to add, but I've been adding the last week or two quite heavily because I think it's cheap. There's been heavy insider buying and heavy issuer buying, both of which are great signals. And of course, it's right on its ass. These stocks, these oils have been just slaughtered. And it seems bleak right now that we're going to perhaps a recession or certainly a slowdown. Oil demand is dropping, but oil supply is not huge. It's abundant, I guess you could say, but it's not huge. And any little change in the demand structure is going to push the oil price higher. And these oil stocks have loads of leverage should we start to go a little bit north. So what to do now? You know, we've had this, and this is what happens in a crash or any kind of significant pullback is the volatility will slowly decrease. So you get this huge dump, and then you get this huge ramp, and then you get another dump, but it doesn't come back to the low. And then you get another ramp, but it doesn't go back to the high. So you get this, oscillating, but the oscillations become smaller and smaller. And right now, we're kind of at that point. I would call it no man's land, where we've had, great rebounds, and hopefully you've been selling some into it. And we've had these big dumps, and hopefully you bought into it. But now we're sort of in the middle. I don't want to, for the most part, I don't want to sell anymore at these prices. And I'm not a buyer at these prices. I mean, look at the Ivanhoe, again, one of my top stocks. It was below 10. It went to 1370. Right now it's at 13. If you look at the chart, it's, sort of like that. I'm a buyer, 12 and a half. Maybe I start to buy a little bit. Sterling and all these US stocks that I own, Delta Airlines, DAL, I have bids, right? We have open orders. Very important to have your open orders in. Takes a little effort, but do it. Okay, so I've got orders in at 38 and 36, and I've got sells in at 44, 46, and 48, and here it is at 42 almost right now. So I'm not doing anything. Sterling, where I'd sold my last shares at 151, it's at 149 right now. I'm a buyer at 140. It's got to drop quite a bit. You can look at Super Microcomputer. I sold a little at 37.5 this morning. I'm a buyer at 33.5. It's 36.5, kind of in no man's land. I still own lots that I would sell higher, but I'm not interested in selling any here at this price. It's got to go north. The uraniums, you know, we had a little bit of a move, but not that much. But if it pulls back, I would be a buyer. Certainly, I'm a seller if it goes north. So we just, you know, the greatest discipline you can have as a trader is to not chase. Okay, you've got to kind of be willing to wait. You almost always will get a chance. There's almost always pullbacks. And if there isn't, if it keeps going, there'll be another great stock that comes along at a better entry point. If you are chasing and buying as the stock is going north, you've got a high probability that you're buying at the high of that movement, of that, you know, short-term move, and it can either discourage you as it comes off, or you can, you know, worse, you can sell it and say, well, I'm an idiot, and you sell it on that pullback before it, you know, goes above your buy point. So if you are buying, remember, we're always going to scale in. We're going to buy some, and if it comes back, we're going to buy some more. If it goes flat for a while and then it starts to go, you can add there. But you know, we've got to be really disciplined. And let me bring up this last point before I end it. Trading is messy. It's a messy business, okay? You're always going to have some losers and some winners. You're going to do the right thing. You're going to do the wrong thing. But you've got to basically try to stay with your rules. You know, I had this Reddit play, and I really liked Reddit, and I bought it all the way down through the crash. It was more than cut in half. And I did sell, you know, not at the bottom, but towards the bottom. And, you know, just everything was down. I wanted to be buying other stocks. Reddit was a high multiple stock. And I did try to buy some back, but I was a little too cute. I missed it. My son got some, but I missed it. So right now I have none, and it has climbed from 90 to 120. I don't want to pay 120 for that stock unless I see their earnings report in a few weeks and it's really, you know, great, or more likely the stock, you know, dribbles back down and I get a chance to get in at lower prices. But you got to be disciplined, and you also have to have a view on life of que sera, you know, what will be, you know, the way you trade, what you've done is done. You can't get down, you can't get up. You just kind of have to stay flat. Okay, well, listen, I'm back. Good to see you. Let me know if you've enjoyed this video. You know, I don't have any incentive to do it other than getting, you know, trying to educate people out there. And if you're interested, great. If you're not interested, well, you know, that's your prerogative. Of course, there's 100,000 finance channels out there. But you know, if you like it, shoot me a like so I know that people are watching and care. And I'll do these a little more often. All right. Hope you're doing well. See you in the next one.